Hey, hello, welcome to the stream. This is Connor here in Pittsburgh with Pittsburgh Papercraft, and I'm just jumping right back in to this Wardian filter fern bank. This is what I was drawing last night, and we're going to keep drawing it this morning. I have over on my reference photograph screen these this stand of fiddleheads. These are rolled up ferns which haven't come out into the light yet. They unroll and they end up looking like a fern, but they start as a fiddlehead, as it were. Yeah, these are beautiful. So here and across this, I'm just replicating a whole clump of fiddleheads, and then I'm going to draw some more fern branches, especially ones that go across. This case is, as we drew up yesterday in my sketchbook. This is what it's going to end up being like. This is tube steel around the edges of this. There's corrugated steel as a backing. It's the back wall that we'll get to fill in. And I realized I actually drew a bunch of Core-10 steel like 2 weeks ago. Let me go grab that. Not Core-10 steel, corrugated steel. This kind of stuff. This is a much different scale. These are panels, each of which is supposed to be about 3 feet wide. I'm imagining this panel to just be monstrous, with big 4-inch waves to it when you scale it up to our scale. And this is much more like if you took our kind of roofing steel corrugation and shrunk it down and made it into kind of a Borderlands style wall, with we're peeking out over the wall, we're gonna get you. We're like mutant alligators that cannibals, man. We'll eat other lizards and reptiles and amphibians. We don't care. It's the barbaric wastelands of the future. Here's our ruined civilized wall that we made out of roofs. Now we just sleep under the stars. Oh well. So, rolling all that back. That's what we're working on. And in order to make this tube steel look like it's in front of everything, this stuff's behind glass. I want to be sure that it's not a triptych, that it's actually three windows into the same place, and that there are objects that cross between these screens, so that you know that just instinctively and intuitively, because your eye can see that things have crossed. So, what we are drawing here, I'm going to start drawing here in the background of this, is just very faint fiddlehead that is kind of at the back of the bunch of fiddleheads. And so it gives off the least visual information of all of these. It's the furthest back, and so it's really just a silhouette against the background with just a little hint up here at the top that it's got a complicated complicated set of things going on. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Yeah, and what's awesome about human perception is that your brain is actually making up most of what you see. You kind of think that it's objective reality, but it's not. Your brain is kind of like filling in the details because it's taking in an overwhelming amount of information. And so the reason that a lot of optical illusions work is because they provide information that your brain can't actually interpret because it's slightly impossible, but your brain can actually perceive that and just sort of perceives both impossibilities at the same time and gets really freaked out. But when you're making art, the thing that you can kind of take advantage of is that because your brain is going to fill in a whole lot of detail anyway, you, the artist, can leave a lot of detail out and just use one or two kind of pieces of detail to imply a whole bunch more beyond that. So here, you can just see one or two little fronds that I'm making. And it's just enough detail that you kind of want it to be there. You kind of believe that there's a lot more fronds, and it just, this view of this style and this artistic way of capturing this information doesn't capture all of the fronds, but you can be sure that I meant to put all of them there. Like you can be sure that I've tried to imply that they're all real, at least. And so in that way, as an artist, you can actually use these kind of like accidental details of your pen strokes and stuff to imply a lot more information than you could ever convey in the amount of pen strokes that you actually, you're not gonna make more than, well, you're gonna make more than 1 million marks in your lifetime, I bet. But I don't know that you're gonna make more than a billion. That would be, I leave the math as an exercise to the viewer. But, anyway, you have a budget. You can't draw everything in the world. You have to draw just most of the things. Okay, so, so I'll draw this guy. And this is just going to be one big bad leaf. So how am I going to draw this? It's got this dark line that runs down the whole middle of the stem. And that is going to be a line that I'm going to reference off of in order to accomplish the whole rest of the drawing, the fern leaf drawing. So, looking at this fern leaf, we could actually, if we got real nerdy about it, how do I do this? Command plus. looking at this leaf in detail, it's not a leaf, we got technical terms. Looking at this frond, these are pinnae over here. This is a frond, and then each of those little guys is a pinna, or pinnae. And this stem thing is actually called a stipe. But the pinna that you can see here, they alternate. So one goes off, and then the other goes off, and then one goes off, and then the other goes off. And if you look very closely, as we're going to do, at an individual one of the pinna, how do they work? Well, in this particular one, they're actually symmetrical, right? You can see that at this level, they're paired, and they're paired all the way out to the tip here. So that's just what we will attempt to draw as well. Now this leaf is making things kind of easy for me, and I'm going to make things kind of easy for myself. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to arrange my paper so that it's got the same kind of north-south direction as the leaf, or as the frond here. And I'm just looking at kind of where the outer shape of it is, what these points are, and the shape that they define, which is like a big teardrop that's very heavy at the bottom, and then has this little tail that goes quite steeply from thick to thin. And then looking at the other straight lines that we're going to be able to fill in right here that will kind of determine, that'll be our guidelines as we draw in the rest of these leaves. Those lines are going to come off that, right? And then alternating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? But if I already have the points there, I know where those lines are going to head. And so what I'm looking at right now is just giving myself kind of a rough guide. On this side of the leaf, it looks like the line goes to about 2/3 of the way to the final point. And the final point's deflected maybe like 20% from the intention of where that line is going to be. Let me see if I can bring this up. There we go. That'll be a lot easier to look at. Right, so this line goes about 2/3 of the way visually, and then just visually the leaf droops by about 10 degrees, 20 degrees. Same thing for most of these. It's not always true, but as I go in and start drawing these, that's the line that I can hold to, the idea that I can hold to. And then on this side, it looks like it's a similar kind of deal, except that because the light's a little bit different, it looks like you can only really see that line maybe about halfway up the leaf, though those bends still start 2/3 of the way up each of these pinna. I keep calling them leaves, and that's not accurate. So what I'm going to do is I am going to do this totally backwards. I'm going to put dots down where the edge of all these pinna are on this frond. And then I'm going to draw the pinna stems that go towards those dots, knowing that they're all going to be off by 5 or 10 degrees from the stem. And then after I've done that, then I'm going to start going in and draw each of the individual pinna and the sort of sub-pinna within them. So, let us get to it. That's funny. I was trying to move the mouse out of here into there, but that's not how it works. You gotta bring it over to the other screen. Zoom this guy back down. Oh, that's bad UI, but whatever. Okay, so we got that. Oh, I think the music stopped. Yeah, it did. We were just listening to Dry Creek, the album by Krakatoa, and then we were listening to a couple of songs by TRG Banks. These are from the Free Music Archives. They're all Creative Commons licensed works, and I like to just use them as the background music for things. I don't always know what we're going to hit, so sometimes you might hear a bunch of weird xylophones or aliens that are trying to put down a rebellion among accordions, and it's just not pretty, and I'll try to, if I get disrupted by them, I'll assume you are as well, and I will just switch the music maybe without even saying anything. So yeah, apologies if anything kind of like pops up during the music. I'm not really screening it. I'm listening to it as fresh as you guys are. So this is Daniel Birch's Ambient Volume 2. Our mileage may vary. Okay, there's a little bit of aliens torturing tubas, but we'll let that slide. Okay, so we have this edge, we have this edge, we have this center line. Now I'm going to go ahead and start filling in, I guess from the bottom up, the alternate pairs of lines of these pinna that come out from the stipe, as it is called. And I don't know how interesting you guys are finding this, but I am actually getting a lot of enjoyment out of doing this way, and the reason for that is that it's helping me learn. I have to in order to draw this stuff accurately, I have to actually find out which are the plants that have alternating pinna and which ones don't. This is important woods knowledge that people actually go to school or take weekend courses or go out camping with a knowledgeable friend and kind of quiz them just to learn this stuff. So the fact that I have to learn it order to achieve this drawing to my own kind of satisfaction. It's great. It's super good. Alright. Well, so there's our superstructure kind of done. This is the different sort of sub-stipes. I'm assuming that because this main stipe is called a stipe, that we can call these sort of pinna stipes or sub-stipes off of the main stipe. So we got this left-right alternating pattern, but as we start to draw each of these fronds, each of these pinna and the sort of micro fronds that each pinna is formed out of, these pairs that you can see in the drawing, that's going to fill in most of the detail of what this thing is, just drawing the outlines of those pinna, or the micro fronds of each pinna. So I guess I'm just going to set about to that. I'm looking right now, what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of taking a look at the picture, and what I'm trying to notice, let me zoom in for you guys again. I should probably make a new screen that is just a reflection of this second screen here. Right, so looking at this thing, what I'm kind of looking at is when you draw with pen, you can't draw stuff that's behind other stuff, and so you need to draw the thing that's most in the foreground first, and then kind of recede from there. So I'm trying to see, not just kind of visually and artistically what is in the foreground, because obviously this whole leaf is in the foreground, but which component of this leaf is the most, is closest to the camera, and it's this sideways leaf at the bottom here, which our drawing does not need to replicate. I may replicate it later down here just to kind of like cover in, but I think actually, well, we'll see. We can do that last. And I'll hold off on this, the frond right above it, or the mini frond right above it, the pinna right here as well, just so that we don't need to even like get into those questions until we've drawn the rest of the shape. So it looks like this side here is uniformly kind of in front of the other side, and that basically the bottom of each pinna is closer than the top of each because they've all tilted in the sunlight, so that they can receive more sunlight and get energy from that sunlight and use that energy to craft sugar, which they can store. It's essentially energy that they can process back into energy later. And it's what the rest of us are kind of built out of, right? It's the sugars that plants are able to create from inorganic materials, which is to say, like materials that are not part of life's process at that point. Plants bring them into life's process, turn them into sugars, become like their own organisms, and then stuff that predates on those plants, that's herbivores, stuff that eats the herbivores, that's carnivores, and then humans eat everything. We'll try eating all of it, and we'll eat all the rocks that plants are supposed to eat, and we'll turn oil back into fertilizer, and we'll do all kinds of crazy stuff because we are the animal that thinks, the animal that talks and stands upright. We just do stuff. That's neither here nor there. So anyway, the pinna. We'll go from front to back, we'll go from bottom to top, we'll start at the bottom of this guy and we'll work our way up to the top of the leaf. We're not going to do any kind of shadows or anything like that yet. We're just gonna start drawing these guys. And the reason that we're not going to do any shadows or anything like that yet is because the goal here is minimalism. We're trying to draw this like the photo's all blown out, and we use just enough detail, but not too much detail, right? We don't need to talk about everything. We don't need to display every detail that this plant actually has, because to do that would be overwhelming to the viewer, and overwhelm is not what the artist desires. What the artist desires in a viewer is understanding. In some ways, art is about communication. Sometimes that's communication of an idea, and when that's communication of an idea, you do it in art because you want it to make an impact on a lot of people, and you do it in art because you want people to be able to see that idea over and over again through time, right? If art is about moving ideas around, which I guess is the thesis that I'm positing in this particular moment, then part of art is making an effective presentation of those ideas. And part of making an effective presentation of your ideas is that presentation's clean, right? That you leave out most of what could be said, you leave out most of what you could be drawing, because what the viewer needs is what the viewer needs, and that's not all of the details. That is the important details, the salient details. And what the viewer wants is to be able to apprehend and understand. Part of what attracted me to drawing ferns as kind of the latest instantiation of this factory floor project, well, one thing is, right now the factory floor does not have nearly enough botany, right? My conception of this is that it's kind of a lush and verdant underground space. You wouldn't expect it to be as verdant as it is, but it is. It is as much care and attention is given to the machines and the processes within that space is given to the sort of biological processes within that space. This is the new utopia part of the vision, right? That they have achieved what our civilization has not achieved yet, which is being able to run their processes in a totally sustainable manner. I'm starting to screw this up. You see what I'm doing there? I'm starting to draw these guys, but they are... Wait. Oh. Sorry, yeah, this, the other part of the leaf, I was upside down in how I described this to you guys. this process. We actually do want to start from the top and go down. That's an easier thing to do. What I did here was actually go up, but I did it backwards. You saw me leapfrogging. I didn't talk about doing that, but now that I think about it, yeah, that was wrong. I should have started at the back and gone to the front, because despite that stuff being the most distant from the camera, the overlaps run the other way. So, I will correct that now, basically. You guys are hearing the occasional motorcycle. That's because my drawing desk looks out at a very busy intersection in Pittsburgh, and there are motorcycles that, well, there's a motorcycle dealer right across the street, like a shop, but also it's an intersection that has a long enough light that and big enough straightaways when the light ends that everybody just wants to accelerate out of this intersection and bolt towards where they're going. And if you're on a motorcycle, that's loud. You're doing a loud thing there. Which, you know, that's why you own a motorcycle, and there's not really anything you can tell folks who are, I mean, that's why they're doing it, right? They want to be seen. They want to be loud, and so their motorcycle, their vehicle of choice, is very loud. But you guys get subject to it as well, so welcome to Pittsburgh, everybody. We got motorcycles. Most cities do. If you're a motorcycle owner, besides the kind of like elevated risk, that the very real sort of like elevated existential threat of death, and the sort of strain that potentially adds to your driving, because you can't trust anybody else on the road, right? You got to be ever vigilant, because every car is idiotic and will never see a motorcycle. You have to assume that you are essentially invisible, and that no one has a regard for you. That's the best way to live on a bike, but that's tough, right? That's it's a hard pill to take every day, you know. That some element of humanity is just uncaring and just god awful dumb, and that they're gonna get you killed. But the benefits of riding a bike are enormous. You have the same kind of existential feeling of freedom and acceleration, and I can go wherever I could go, and I can get there quickly, that most people have felt when they've first learned to ride a bike and have that real sort of like childhood bike freedom. Motorcycle does provide that, but with a real kick, right? A real accelerant kick, because that engine goes right to that wheel, and there's nothing between you and the road and the wind, and it's like the hand of God is pressing on your back and pushing you down that highway, and it's just awesome, you know. So I can see why people are into it, and also the fact that you can go, 40 miles on a gallon of gas, or something crazy like that. 100 miles on a gallon of gas, 140 miles on a gallon of gas. I don't know what kind of gas mileage motorbikes get, but it's unreal compared to cars. And so of course you want to ride a bike, right? Like, especially in these times when you just like when leaving the house feels kind of dangerous. What if you could just accelerate away from civilization as fast as you wanted to? Right? I think that's the appeal. That's an appeal with motorbikes. How'd we do with this frond? It's FERN. Leave it, leave it, leave it. I think we did pretty good. I think that looks pretty cool. What else are we going to draw? This field of fiddleheads. We have this fiddlehead here. We have these guys. I haven't really drawn these guys. I want to draw something like this, but I don't actually. The more I've looked at this particular fiddlehead, the more I don't want to draw all of the weird fluff that it's got on it. I think I really like. I like these guys better. I liked this, but it's actually, I want it to have more ferns. Right now it looks like it's some kind of curled up, I don't know, like dinosaur lizard or something. Doesn't quite look like a plant. It looks like it could be something's tail, like a chameleon's tail. And these guys are just out of focus, and that's not a fiddlehead at all. So I think we're gonna think about this. But we're gonna pick one of these guys. That's what I get. That's what I get for not remembering my own commands. Zoom and pan. Right. I think we're gonna go with this guy. I think this is the guy we're gonna draw. And again, I want to make sure that there are things that go across these. These fiddleheads over here, this fern, this fern. I think I would like to draw more of these. This came out quite dark compared to this, but that's interesting. Yeah, so I think I want to draw just maybe one big fiddlehead, but actually, maybe let me just kind of pan around. Take a look here. Maybe these three, you know? This one, that one, and that one here. Them one, two, three. No. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that seems good. I want them to be basically as tall as the box is. So we'll start just with the topmost hairs of this fiddlehead here. The reason I'm choosing that as a detail is because if it turns out that these are not quite the right detail to mimic, it'll be easier to kind of erase them. But there's the spiral. Okay, so there's one fiddlehead. The second fiddlehead is in front of that one. Is at a more severe angle, but and it already has a couple of pinna that have unfurled. And it see, oh, this is great. This is great detail. When you're looking at these pinna, they've alternated. Right? This one comes towards us. This one goes away from us. This one comes towards us. Goes away from us. Towards away. So you can kind of see how you would stack these or mesh them inside each other as the helix was curled up, and then as it unfurled, a fern. Look close at what we're drawing here, you can see that what these fiddleheads actually are is just these guys, but not unfurled yet. You know, the parts that look hairy are the underside of the stipe, and the curly Q part is just those smaller and smaller and smaller pinna curled into each other in one big spiral and kind of filling in and being space efficient in how they're packed into this small little space. If you're wondering if I always speak this slowly or with long pauses in my speech, no, this is kind of what happens when I'm really getting into a drawing. Oh, I kind of misjudged the sizing here, but that's okay. I'm just gonna. I'm actually just gonna kind of fake it a little bit, which I know is not always cool, but it's not how I'm doing it here. Hey, oh, we lost the music again. Oh no, okay. This is Awkward Silences version B by We Reserve. Well, we finished out Daniel Birch Ambient Volume 2, so let's switch it up. Let's go with Junya Nishimura's EVP 204 Fragile Garden. Actually, going backwards, this is the bonus track, Hopeless Hope. Classical ambient and piano. Right. So this fiddlehead is further back than the other one, and I really want to convey that it's got a different stem, and the stem is going in a different direction. And then here, we have our last one. there's those three. That's very funny. I was in the wrong window here. Oh, wow. Okay, we've already been going for 52 minutes. I actually, it's my friend's birthday, and his birthday party is on Zoom today, so I think I'm actually going to pack this in. I am going to be streaming a whole bunch in the next week. Let me tell you about that before we go, if any of you guys are still here. I always assume that someone is. I think that there's just an invisible friendly person, and it's you who's here, hanging out with me. So I'm going to put these up shortly, but I will be streaming Wednesday the 8th, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday the 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Friday the 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, a little bit later each time. So maybe you'll catch me at any one of those three. If not, I'm putting these up as like an archive, so you can look in the archive and you can hang out with a past version of me working on a past project or an earlier part of this project, this Wardian filter fern bank, which we're pressing ahead on by drawing all these different cool ferns and all these different kind of methods of trying to capture them. I'm going to need to find more reference photos. I got to find some reference photos of just a whole fern bush, right? Because we need to start getting some more background ferns in, really fill this in. There is going to be, like a corrugated steel, something like this in the background behind these guys in grayscale. But I'd like to get at least a couple more plants. I want this to look like one big cohesive, at least visual, this thing's full of ferns from side to side. Yeah, warm regards from Pittsburgh. I hope to hang out with you guys again in the future, shortly here, and have a wonderful, Sunday. Have a wonderful Sunday. Have a good, if you're on a stay-at-home order, stay at home. If you're not on a stay-at-home order, still stay at home. We will get through this together, because we won't get through it separately. That's a bit of a misquote of Benjamin Franklin. I think he was speaking about rebellion. He said something along the lines of, we must all hang together, or surely we will all hang separately, which is a much more direct application of that pun. Oh well. See you guys next week, and have a great Sunday, and I wish you all the best, and good health and warm regards. And, thanks for watching me draw. Thanks for hanging out and drawing with me. And again, my thanks to the Free Music Archive, and this last bit we've been listening to. We listened to the bonus track, Hopeless Hope, then we listened to Garden 2, and then we listened to Garden 1. We're going backwards, I guess, because we're going in reverse order of date added, which means that we got added out of order, or got added in order, and we're listening to it in reverse order. Free Music Archive, Junya Nishimura, and again, this album is called Fragile Garden. It's EVP 204, Fragile/Garden. Very cool. Have a great day, and thank you for streaming with me. Thank you for, I guess I was doing the streaming, you guys were hanging out near the stream. Thanks for listening to my babbling brook of art and drawing. Oh, yeah, here. For, the end of the stream club, you guys got a real cool close-up of what I actually drew. All close to the screen, close to the camera. I really like how that fern that we planned out turned out. Very cool. Well, yeah. Have fun. Connor in Pittsburgh, signing off.